The coalition government's comprehensive spending review has signalled an era of austerity. We're here at Central Bedfordshire Council to find out the impact it will have on the area. Welcome, Councillor Richard Stay. Can you tell us your role at Central Bedfordshire Council, please?
My role within the authority is as Deputy Leader, and I have the portfolio holder role for policy and performance.
Okay. We keep hearing from David Cameron about big society, but what we want to know is how exactly does that fit in with Central Bedfordshire Council?
Well, big society is more of a concept, I think, than something which is really practical. But when you start to look at how does that apply to the communities that make up Central Bedfordshire, I think there are a number of things that I would want to articulate in terms of the benefits to communities. Over the last 50 years, we've lost that sense of community, and government has wrapped everybody in these rolls of cotton wool, and people have tended to withdraw from society. So for me, big society is an enabling role to allow communities to retake control of their communities, their villages, their towns, and start to contribute to something that makes their towns and communities a better place. An example for me was my own part of the world in Slip End, where the parish council has started to say, well, actually, we want to make Slip End look a nicer place, a better place for people to live. And they have organised a quarterly village clean-ups, litter picks. Our role in that, as the local authority, is to supply litter bags and then to pick them up at the end of the litter pick. That's been, I think, hugely helpful in making people feel part of a community again, and it's something that a lot of people haven't been used to doing. So that's a small but I think important example of what big society could mean.
Okay, so with that in mind, how do you plan to get people to do more for themselves within their communities?
Well, let's be blunt about this, is that the catalyst for having this conversation is the financial crisis that we find ourselves in public sector. That we do not have the money to be applying this all-encompassing set of services that we've done in the past. But I don't see that necessarily as bad news. That public sector has to get smaller, it has to shrink, and there have to be fewer things that we do. But what we do in the future, we will do well. And what we want to focus on is the core services which are important to the people of Central Bedfordshire. A lot of those quality of life issues, how our communities look, that is what we want to enable the third sector, town and parish councils and the community themselves to do. We want to be an enabling authority that we can find our way through and help people through legislation and the layers of bureaucracy which often stand in the way. So that's what we see as our role in the future.
Okay. And what sort of things do you see communities doing for themselves, and what sort of things can people get involved in?
Well, I think that will very much depend on individual communities. So some of the larger towns have ambitions to be running the markets, for example, in Leighton Buzzard and Dunstable, you know, looking at how parking is controlled in streets. But I think if I can encapsulate a sort of the general feel of what big society and what this role could enable is very much around the quality of life, how communities look. But I don't think we want to be prescriptive about what that looks like. You know, very much around a village may wish to start up new clubs, new recreation clubs, to enhance the quality of life within a community. In the larger towns, where the town councils have got larger budgets, you know, they may wish to be more ambitious about what they take on. I don't want to be prescriptive. That is very much a matter of conversation between us as the local authority and the local communities.
So if a resident wants to get involved in doing more in their communities, what's the next step that they should take?
What I would love you to do is to think about what is important for you, what it is that you'd like to get involved with, but then come and tell us. So come on to Let's Talk Central and tell us your thoughts. We want you to interact with others and to have that debate, because what we want to come out of this is a set of ideas that are going to benefit your communities. And if you want to find out who your local councillor is, go onto the Central Bedfordshire website, where you'll find a huge amount of information.